Welcome to Smith Playground, a new $6.4 million investment made right here in Allston. Our park's goals are threefold. We focus on access, equity, and excellence. Access, we want all residents to make sure they're in close proximities from their home to their nearest neighborhood local park, and also make sure we're within ADA compliance. Equity, to make sure we invest in these parks and make sure we have these signature parks throughout the city. And excellence, that we strive to have the best park system in the country, and obviously the best parks throughout the city. This park really is a signature park, and this is just phase one. So to think phase one is $6.4 million, and it has a multi-purpose field for soccer, lacrosse, and other fields, a new playground which also has water play, passive area for neighborhood use, including a brand new amphitheater that was dedicated to General Casey, right over here to my left, basketball court with lighting, street hockey court with lighting, a wheel-friendly area. This is our first ever in the city pump track. So in the distance behind the skateboard area, you can see the black tar, which is a BMX pump track for bikes. And this is our first one that we're piloting throughout the city. All new landscaping, site furnishing, and walking paths. So it really is a large investment, and we are fortunate to have great leadership with this investment, which was led by Kathy Baker Eclipse. If we give her a round of applause, she was our project manager from the Parks Department. Kathy, thank you for all the work on this. Stantec Planning and Landscape Architecture, they're the design firm that helped design this park. And Argus Construction, who's been out here for the past 2 years building this phase one of this park. So thank you to Stantec and Argus as well. It's now my pleasure to introduce somebody who's a great leader for parks, somebody that funds parks, believes in parks, and makes sure that all our parks are welcoming, accessible, and safe to all residents. Please welcome the Mayor of the City of Boston, Martin J. Walsh.
Thank you, Ryan. And you know, this is an exciting day here. Michael Flaherty just leaned into me and he said, "Brighton gets everything," and then Kevin Honan said, "Not enough." And I want to, but no, this is a beautiful park. And before I get into it, I want to thank Ryan and the Parks Department, all the staff that do an amazing job, all the planners. I want to thank the partners who made this possible, Harvard University, Harvard Allston Public Realm Flex Fund, the community who pushed and make sure you constantly push to make sure that we beautify and create this incredible space in our city, but here in Allston, Brighton. Boston Properties, who donated the beautiful statue created by Boston's artist Donald Dulu, which is down the way. Thank you very much. We have Cara Elliott Ortega, who's the Chief of Arts and Culture for the City of Boston. We have really, in the last 5 years, focused on arts and culture in the city. We came up with a cultural plan. Many of the community here helped us with that, and all across the City of Boston. We're making investments. We put 1% of our capital into funding the arts in the City of Boston. It's something that really hasn't happened in the city for decades and generations, and we wanted to make sure that as we think about open space and as we think about, quite honestly, some closed space as well, private property, we want to do more around arts and culture and having this connection. Because what it does, it allows conversation and has the curious mind going. So thank you to all of you. I want to thank Brian Golden, the director of the Boston Planning and Development Agency, who represented the neighborhood for many years at the State House, which we met and worked there together, and now is doing an amazing job in the city. And I know that the BPDA sometimes gets a lot of criticism for development, but what we're doing is it's about growth of the city, and we're planning right now in 16 planning processes going on in the City of Boston. We're planning because of the growth that's happened in the past. We didn't always plan for that growth. The city didn't always plan for that growth. We didn't plan for the traffic. We didn't plan for the additional people moving into the City of Boston. We didn't plan for the amenities. We didn't plan for the schools. We didn't plan for all of that. And in the last 5 years, we've completely changed that, put that upside down so that we're planning the city better so that we can move our people around and move people around the city better. So I want to thank Brian and his team for the great work that they're doing. Your elected officials that are here, Mark Siomo, who's leaving in a month and a half, was the chairman of Ways and Means, and the funding for the last 5 years that we've been able to get into parks and libraries and community centers and police stations and fire stations and schools, all of that stuff, not just here in this neighborhood, but throughout the City of Boston. Marcus helps partnership with the mayor's office and with the mayor and the administration, where we have come up with some incredible budgets, including the largest parks budget consistently for the last 5 years in a row. We keep beating it year after year, so I want to thank Mark for his support. I want to thank Kevin Honan. As you all know, we have a housing crisis going on. We have the middle class and poorer people getting the squeeze out of the city. And Kevin was part of putting together the largest housing bond bill in the history of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts last year. And that bond bill we're reaping some of the benefits now. We're starting to see that money come down from the bond bill, be allocated. And Kevin's been a big champion in housing, but also for this community. He grew up here. He loves this community. I want to thank Kevin Honan for his leadership and support here as well. And Michael Flaherty, who's been on the city council, I think almost the longest. He took a break in service and he came back. And Michael certainly has his pulse on the ground. And again, when it comes to open space and places like the park we're in today, but all the other things we talked about, Michael's always pushing to make sure we think about how do we make sure that the projects are equitable for everyone? How do we make sure they're inclusive for everyone? How do we make sure they're accessible for everyone? And I want to thank Michael Flaherty for his great work he's done here in the council. Just a few more thank yous. Samuels and Associates for being an incredible partner during the construction, creating a welcoming entrance to the park, and $500,000 to the park. So thank you, Peter's here. Thank you, Peter, for the investment. I want to thank the NHL Hockey is for everyone. They contributed a dedicated street hockey rink in honor of Willie O'Ree, the first black NHL hockey player who played for the Boston Bruins. So I want to thank the NHL for that. And my final thank you right now is to the Casey family. They joined us here a few months ago and dedicated this very amphitheater to Major General George W. Casey. He was an Allston native who grew up right across the street, gave his life defending our country. We're always going to be grateful for his sacrifice, and I'm glad we can honor him. But I want to give a special shout out to Brian Golden, because the story was talked about when Brian found out that General Casey grew up here, and his story, he really started to begin the conversation about how do we recognize a true hero. And oftentimes we spend a lot of time talking about heroes and our little ones, and sometimes us. We think our heroes are these great football and hockey and basketball players that played in the league and they won championships. And they are heroes in some ways, but our real heroes are people who put their life on the line and sacrifice for our country. Our true heroes are neighborhood activists who spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours at meetings and fighting for the community, fighting for justice, whether it was environmental justice or racial justice or community justice. Those are the true heroes, and I'm excited that Major General George W. Casey's amphitheater is here, and there's an incredible dedication. Because for all the young people that come here and play sports or walk through here and they look at that monument over there, they realize that at one point George W. Casey was a little kid in the neighborhood, and he walked these same streets, and he played on the same streets, and he probably got in the same trouble as all of us do once in a while. And he went on to join the service. He became a general, became a major general, and he put his life on the line to make sure that we as Americans and Bostonians, as kids from Allston, Brighton, have the freedoms we have. So again, to the Casey family, thank you very much. This park is a gold standard park. It is something for everyone. People of all ages and all abilities can come here, enjoy themselves, pray, relax, meditate, whatever they want. As we can also see, it's not just people. We also have dogs running around. So we got the people and the dogs taken care of here today. We're encouraging. Here they come.
On cue.
We're gonna ignore the leash law right now, but that's all right.
It's a district city council's issue.
If you have any complaints about dogs on the leash, Mark Siomo's the one to talk to. There we go.
Come here.
But this kind of park is amazing in the city of Boston. The kind of creativity and accessibility that we're including in this park, we're doing it in all of Boston's parks. Ryan talked about the importance of parks. Boston has the oldest and best park system in the United States of America. We have famous parks like Boston Common, which we're making a $28 million investment in. We have places like Franklin Park, where we're making a $28 million investment in. We have pocket parks on all side streets in Boston to make Boston a better place. In 2014, when we became mayor, we joined an organization to be able to say that we could make sure that everybody that lives in Boston, regardless of what street you're on, what corner of the neighborhood you're in, or what corner of the city you're in, that you're less than a 10-minute walk to a park. We accomplished that last year. Every single Bostonian has, wherever they live, is within 10-minute walk of a park. That's something we're the first city on the East Coast to do that. The green spaces support public health and well-being. They help us bring our neighborhood together. They help improve the quality of life for everyone. They help improve part of our response to climate change as well. Whether you believe it or not in climate change, it's a real issue. And having more green space and more trees and more places is really important for us. So we're going to continue to make the investments here. Smith Park is the newest example of that. Parks like this are investments in our communities. I know that today, before I leave and all of us leave, everyone has a different request or a different concern, what you're worried about. Some people worry about traffic. Some people worry about housing. Some people worry about the environment. Some people worry about education. The one thing that's common is our parks, to make sure that our parks stay first class. Because anybody can use our parks. We even let Republicans use the parks if they want. I'm only kidding to the Republicans out there. But I want to thank all the partners who made this a reality. I look forward to phase 2. And to the last one, the people of Allston. The people that fought for this park and fought for the renovation of this park, you should be very proud of your work. Because it truly was led by the community. And it shows that when community rises up and works together to move forward, something amazing can happen. Just look over my shoulder. Thank you.
I also want to acknowledge, hiding in the back, that came to join us, the person who got this project going 2 years ago, our former Parks Commissioner and Chief of Energy and Environment for the City of Boston, Chris Cook, is in the back. So Chris, thank you for being here as well. The councils were mentioned, and this is a very special place to Rep. Honan, who's very involved down here with the basketball courts, and he wants to share his excitement with us today about the renovations of this park.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Thank you very much, Commissioners. On behalf of the families of Allston Brighton and the residents of Allston Brighton, I want to thank you, Mayor, for your extraordinary effort here and investment in our community. I thank Samuels, and I also thank Katie Lapp, who's representing Harvard. I thank you for this investment. It's a handicapped, accessible tot lot that all of the children in our neighborhood can appreciate and use. I have a women's basketball league that's in its 31st year, and we've always played down here. I've also played baseball in the Babe Ruth leagues here. So I'm really excited as a local resident that this park is as awesome as any park in Massachusetts. And I thank the Councilor Flaherty and, of course, our dear friend Mark Siomo. It's a wonderful legacy to Mark as well. Also, I want to join the mayor in thanking Brian Golden, particularly for posing for that nude statue down there. That was very generous of you, Brian. So anyway, the mayor was supposed to do it, but he was busy that day, so he sent Brian to pose. Anyway, I used to work for the Parks Department, and I was involved in planning the tot lot 15 years ago. So this is just extraordinary, and the families and residents of our neighborhood are really going to benefit from this. So thank you so much. Thank you, Commissioner.
So phase 1 of this project would not be complete without an investment from Harvard. Harvard was involved from day 1. They came out and really helped get us over the goal line. So now representing Harvard University, please welcome Katie Lapp.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Ryan, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for this amazing day. And on behalf of President Bacow, who couldn't be here today, and many of my Harvard colleagues, we're just thrilled to be able to be here to see this amazing park being used by all of the community, and we really just appreciated being a part of this. The mayor had the vision of leveraging our community benefits for this park, and we couldn't have thought of a better project to be behind. So thank you very much. I too want to thank the Harvard Allston Task Force, the Public Realm Flex Fund Committee, Brian Golden and his colleague Gerald Alder. I don't know if he's here today, but he too really put a lot of effort into this. And of course the Parks project management team. The results behind you are evident, and it's going to be an amazing park for decades and decades to come. I also want to invite all of you, the Allston Brighton residents, right behind me. You can see the tents going up for Harvard's Fall Fest. We have the men and women's soccer games. We have a football game against Dartmouth that starts at 1 o'clock. There's musical activities. Any one of you that would love to go, please see Mark Hanley, our amazing colleague from Harvard, right back there, and an Allston resident. He can give you the tickets. Everything's free, so please take advantage of it. It's a beautiful day, beautiful park, and activities right over there. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Katie. And we can't just celebrate this park, we have to get back to work this week. So November 6th is the first community meeting for Phase 2 of Smith Playground. So another multi-million-dollar investment starting Phase 2. We're going to be at the Fiorentino Community Center on November 6th to start the planning for that second phase. We're going to line up now to cut the ribbon.
Right. 1, 2, 3.